Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to be um, a true crime corner video. But before we get started, this is going to be a little earlier than normal that I will put this up. My little dude is sick. So I'm kind of, and if I, tell you I need to pause or whatever, it's because I need to go and run and check on him. So just bear with me for a few minutes. And just bear with me. Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about Catherine Cesnik. She was a nun, and she was 26 years old, and she disappeared one night after leaving her apartment. Nobody knows how, where she was. It's all one big weird case. This is an unsolved case. So we're going to get started. I'm going to do a little intro on her, and we're just going to go from there. Now, she was born November the 17th, 1947, in a neighborhood of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She was the eldest child of Joseph and Anna Cesnik. She had 3 siblings. She attended St. Mary's School in Lawrenceville. She was valedictorian, and she was also the senior president of her class, the president of her senior class. She became a teacher at Western High School. She belonged to the Sisters of Notre Dame, which is an order that is devoted to education. Now, like I said, I don't know how she became a nun. I know, it doesn't tell me how she became, a nun. I'm not really sure. All I know is that she was a nun, but she was also a teacher and so forth. Now, we're going to do a little timeline thing. This is how, uh, so you guys can get a better understanding of what happened to her. So on Friday, November the 7th, she left her apartment left her Baltimore apartment in Edmondson Village Shopping Center in the early evening, and her roommate Sister Helen Russell Phillips, said that it was around 7:30 when she had left. So she lived in the Carriage House Apartments in the 100 block of North Bend Road. Now, Sisters Cesnik cashed her paycheck at a local bank in Catonsville. She then made a purchase at a bakery in Edmondson. She was also planning to go to buy an engagement gift for her sister. Now then, of course, that's the last anybody heard from her, as you can see. So then, on Saturday, November the 8th, Sister Russell called 2 of her friends, Reverend McCall and Reverend Gerald J. Cope, who drove to Baltimore from Beltsville. And so after hearing about, Kathy Cesnik, they then called the police, reported her missing. Then at 4:40 a.m., Reverend McCall found Sister Cesnik's unlocked car, which was a green 1970 Maverick, in the 4500 block of Carriage Court. The vehicle was towed to the police station, The police had received calls about an oddly parked vehicle. Now, mind you, they found it. Okay, her apartment is like here. I've seen the picture. Her apartment is here. Her car was parked like here across the street in a weird way. So, but even though she ended up basically on the other side of town, and okay, okay. Um, so now the car had been processed in the lab, in the crime lab. They did find uh, a box of buns that were purchased at the bakery that of where she was going to go purchase the engagement gift for her sister. And they also found some leaves and some twigs in the car. They also found some branches that had been caught in the car's antenna. There was a twig that was hooked with a yellow thread that was found on the turn signal lever. So I'm trying to understand that. How. I don't know. I don't know if it was, kind of one of those, somebody rigged that up. I don't know. It just, to me, that sounded kind of weird. So they summarized that she may have left the car and gone into the woods. So the police then decided to search the park, and they ended up searching the city. They came up empty. Now they put out her description, and she was described as 5 feet 5 inches tall, 150 pounds, with green eyes, blonde hair, and fair complexion. She was wearing an aqua coat, navy blue suit, yellow sweater, and black shoes. So now on Sunday, November the 9th, 1969, 35 city police officers and 5 dog teams scoured the 14 block southeast or 14 block area of Southwest Baltimore. They knocked on doors, they searched alleys and deserted buildings, and they basically came up empty. Now so they basically, stopped. So Monday, November the 10th, police continued to check for tips and for any kind of lead, but did not resume any kind of a search on a large scale basis. So now the captain of the homicide squad said that there was no evidence of foul play in her disappearance. They could find no evidence of violence or of any kind. So now, first they're saying, okay, she might have been kidnapped. Now they're saying they can't find any kind of evidence to prove that there was any kind of foul play. So it's kind of like, okay, what do we do? So then on Tuesday, on November the 11th, city homicide detectives said that they had no reason to believe that this teaching nun who had disappeared, they had no reason to believe that she had been kidnapped. So now they, come down to the point, okay, she's not been kidnapped, even though, it possibly, they thought she had at first, I guess. So, as you can see, they kind of, to me, it sounds like they kind of gave up even though, they kind of had no leads at all, which, okay, I get it. It's understandable. Um, they were trying to place what happened. They were just trying to piece it together for what happened in the 2 hour period that she went missing at 8:30 p.m. Okay, now mind you, she left her apartment at 7:30 p.m. Now, they say that at 8:30 p.m., residents saw Sister Cesnik's car drive into her reserved parking spot. Okay. Now, the car then was later spotted illegally parked about a block away at 10:30 p.m. Now, see how weird that sounds? That makes no sense to me. So, there was another person that had gone missing. Her name was Joyce Helen Malecki. She went missing on the evening of November the 11th. She had left her home in Baltimore to go shopping in Glen Burnie. And for a date with a friend who was stationed at Fort Meade. They began to search for Malecki. Now, the whole purpose that they decided to do that was because they thought that Sister Cesnik and Joyce Malecki were kind of related. The disappearances were related. That's where that gets brought to. Wednesday, the November the 12th, 1969, Malecki's car is found in a parked in a lot of a vacant gas station in an area of Odenton called Boomtown. And her car, with her keys for still in the ignition, which was found by her brother. Now, her brother found that. Now, her groceries she had purchased were also found in the car. So, now this is my thing. If you're gonna go disappear of your own free will, you wouldn't leave your groceries in the car. So, obviously, okay. So, excuse me. November the 13th, her body was found floating in the Little Patuxent River. And by two deer hunters that were on the western side or the western edge of Soldier Park, which is a Fort Meade training area. And because that was basically federal property, the FBI and the Fort Meade military police, ended up being on the scene. So now they continue to check leads in the disappearance of Sister Cesnik. Mind you, they're not really focusing on her anymore. They're focusing on this Joyce Malecki because possibly they think, okay, this could be connected because there were similarities like the car being abandoned and so forth. Now, November the 14th, there was an autopsy on Joyce Malecki's body. And it was revealed that she was stabbed and choked, and her hands were bound with a cord. She had a number of scratches and bruises. The cause of her death was either choking or drowning. Further tests were needed to determine the cause. Malecki was described as 5 feet 7 inches tall, 112 pounds. She had brown hair and brown eyes, and the homicide detectives reported that Sister Cesnik was still considered missing there were no new leads. Now, mind you, Sister Cesnik is also, oh no, she's not. You know, it's just this is what gets me. There's similarities to this case, but, you know, I guess the police don't really think that there is. But to me, with the car being abandoned and, like Sister Chesnick, her purchase from the bakery was left in the car, but with Joyce Malecki, her groceries were left in the car. So that really makes, it's kind of weird. Now, Saturday, November the 16th, 1969, the police investigated whether a pair of black high heel shoes found near Sister Malecki's watery grave belonged to Sister Chesnick, who was said to have been wearing black shoes at the time of her disappearance. Now the police, said, we have no indication to say that they are, but we will check it out. So now, November, that's the last of anything, okay? Now, January the 2nd, 1970. Mind you, it's the last anybody's heard about Sister Chesnick is in November. So now we're going to 2 months ahead. The newspaper, the Baltimore News American, and the Baltimore Sun, and the Evening Sun, had shut down for a strike. There was a strike. And so now, that would last 74 days. Now, the next day, her body was found. Okay? Sister Chesnick's body was found. January 3rd, 1970, they found Sister Chesnick's body, but 2 hunters found them, a father and his son, in a remote area of Lansdowne in Baltimore County. Now, the body was partially hidden in an embankment and snow. Yeah, snow. The embankment was big. There was snow in the embankment. It was discovered 100 yards from the 2100 block of Monumental Avenue. And the police said it was probable that Sister Chesnick was had been either carried or was forced to walk, because a car could not have driven from Monumental Avenue to where the body was found. Why, I'm not sure. The autopsy did reveal that there was a skull fracture from a blow to her head and on her left temple. Baltimore County Police Department took over the investigation, and it still remains open. Now, from 1970 to 1977, according to the timeline, her Sister Chesnick's case was extremely active during this period. Detectives conducted numerous interviews and polygraphs. Excuse me. I don't mean to say intergraphs. That's really the physical evidence had been collected and preserved relatively. Excuse me. Now, there was relatively little physical evidence that was found because of the poor condition of the body. The detectives were able to determine if she had been sexually assaulted. So, there's really nothing to... Excuse me, I'm telling you. Goodness, I'm sorry. Now, after 1977, the case, Sister Chesnik's case, becomes dormant. Now, according to a timeline that was provided, um, police received little information at this point in time about the case. They received no calls, um, or any witnesses to say that she had been sexually assaulted or anything like that. Now, 1977, from 1977 to 1992, there's nothing. 20 some years. Okay. So now 1992, the first allegation of sexual abuse is made against Reverend A. Joseph Maskell, which was a Catholic priest, and these allegations were made by two former female students of Baltimore's Archbishop Keogh School. Now, if you remember, that's where Sister Cesnik taught. Okay. Now, Maskell denied the allegations, which, were being investigated by police. Maskell grew up, and this is just a little background on him. Maskell grew up in Baltimore, and he graduated from Calvert Hall College, and there's a lot of things here. Basically, he served as a chaplain for a lot of areas, and the last place that he served as a chaplain was for the Maryland State Police, Baltimore County Police, Maryland National Guard, and later the National Guard as a lieutenant colonel. In 1992, he was removed from his position by the Archdiocese of Baltimore following accusations of sexual misconduct. So, now, we're going to really, this isn't like an actual, this timeline kind of gets, cursory at best. October 1992 to April 93, he stayed at the psychiatric hospital, the Institute of Living, that is in Hartford, Connecticut. He returned for Baltimore after an evaluation and found no psychological or sexual abnormalities. So my question is, okay, now they removed him. The Archdiocese removed him. So my question is, why did the Archdiocese put him in a mental institute without being questioned by the police? Did they think that he had something to do with, Kathy Chesnik's disappearance? They don't really come out and tell you. So now, in August of 93, okay, now remember now in April, he, was released from the psychiatric hospital. Now, in August of 1993, he was named pastor of St. Augustine's in Elkridge after an investigation by the Archdiocese that did not corroborate sexual abuse allegations. So basically, I'm trying to understand how I'm not even going to try to understand how that works, because that's to me, that's just kind of all kinds of confusing. And I'm not going to try to say, okay, I don't know anything about how um, that the Catholic Church works that out. That, to me, that's just, I don't know. Okay, now in spring of 1994, um, a former archbishop of the Keokuk High School tells Baltimore County Police that Maskell sexually abused her and took her to Sister Cesnik's body. Okay. Now, see, this is getting weird, and to me, it sounds like it could come full circle, but we're not sure. Weeks before, now, again, she tells the police that she's accusing Maskell of sexual abuse, and that he takes her to Sister Cesnik's body weeks before the police find it. Okay. Um then the student also tells the police that another man that she had met in the priest's office told her that um, he had beaten Cesnik to death because the nun knew of the alleged sexual molestation. So, does that mean that there was two people involved? Or was there one? I mean, see, this is really confusing because obviously it sounds like it, but the police note that there are inconsistencies in the student's account. Okay. Now, the student said that the priest had, and the other man, warned her that she would suffer the same fate if she told the police. Um, they were unable to verify or disprove this this allegation, but in interviews with the police and the Sun, she provided details about the body that were only known to investigators. So then again, it could have been the priest and this man that killed Kathy Cesnik, or you got this student that knows details that nobody else knew but the police. Now, July 31st of 1994, Maskell left his parish at St. Augustine's in Howard County to seek therapy in the face of mounting allegations of sexual abuse. Okay, see, this is very, very, how do I put this, weird, because why would you go and the first time go to some psychiatric clinic and then turn around and put yourself back into that kind of a situation where you possibly are going to get tempted to do to sexually molest people, and then apparently you're still doing it, and now you're going to leave again to go seek therapy. I'm just really, really, I don't understand. Now, there was at least a dozen women that alleged that Maskell had abused them. Um, and while they were students, he was a counselor at Archbishop Keogh during the late 1960s and 1970s. His departure came after um, after Archdiocese of Baltimore officials had interviewed two more Keogh students that said that Maskell had sexually abused them. So now, August the 10th, 1994, the police excavated a pit in Holy Cross Cemetery in Brooklyn Park. And they were seeking records that were buried there in 1990 on Maskell's orders. So apparently they had records of this kind of stuff. And to me, that's just creepy. So August 10th, August 24th, two former students filed a $40 million lawsuit against Maskell and a retired gynecologist, Dr. Christian Richter, 79, accusing them of sexual abuse at the school. Now, mind you, this is all because of Kathy Cesnik, basically. You know, she's the one that they found. So now, all this gets started. Now, I will tell you that she did find out that there were other students getting assaulted. That's from watching the documentary. So now on November the 4th, now mind you, the Maryland Court of Appeals ruled that, did not rule in their favor. They ruled that the court case could not go forward, and so that never happened. Now, on November the 4th, 1994, there was a $6,000 reward that was offered by the Archdiocese of Baltimore and Metro Crime Stoppers for information leading to the conviction of the killer of Sister Cesnik. Now, December the 1994, Maskell who left his parish in Elkridge, officially resigned. Then, according to police, he is not considered a prime suspect. Then 1994 till now, 2000 and the 2000s, DNA profiles of a half dozen suspects are developed and compared, and there's always negative results. Now, mind you, 2001, the Reverend Maskell died at St. Joseph Hospital. He was 62. They are still searching for who killed her. Now, what I found interesting, and I did not know this until I was reading over this, in 2016, in May, the Archdiocese of Baltimore posted a list of priests and religious brothers that were accused of sexual abuse. including Maskell's. But then again, but again, they could never really, prove that he did anything to Kathy Cesnik. So now in November, um, the Archdiocese paid a series of settlements to the people that were, abused and so forth by Maskell. Now then, 2016, the case was reassigned because the detectives that were working on the Sister Cesnik case had retired. So now, according to the timeline that has been provided by the police, activity on the case intensifies as victims of sexual abuse discuss the information. Numerous interviews are conducted. One living suspect is re-interviewed. Okay. Now, November the 28th, 2017, or excuse me, February 28th, 2017, the police, then Baltimore County Police, exhumed Reverend Pastor Maskell's body. And they compare his DNA with the crime scene evidence from Sister Cesnik's case. And then May 2017, they received an allegation from a woman who said that she was abused by Maskell. Oh, excuse me. She was abused by a now deceased county officer with Maskell, or that was associated with Maskell and the Cesnik case. But the woman wanted to remain anonymous. She declared, she declined the interview. Now, May 4th, 2017, the police said that they are also investigating or exploring connections between Cesnik's death and three others that three other bodies that were found in similar situations as hers. So now, at the end, and now, then 2 weeks later, on the 17th of May of 2017, they did announce that Maskell's DNA did not match evidence from Sister Cesnik's body. So, they rule him out as any kind of suspect. But that didn't mean, well, excuse me, it just because the DNA wasn't found and, he didn't sexually abuse her, they said that does not rule him out as a suspect at all whatsoever. They just said that it means that the current forensic technology does not provide a physical link between him and the crime scene. So basically, they aren't saying that he was, that he's not really guilty. So that is all I have on that one, guys. This, like I said, this case is unsolved. They have not, as far as I know, they haven't gotten any new leads. This was as of, 3 years ago. Almost 4 years ago. So they're still, kind of investigating. But again, it's just kind of been put to the side because they run out of leads and stuff. So, um, and I'm pretty sure, the Catholics, the, that they're not helping either. So it's just kind of, one of those things. And I have to say, this is something that I would only see on like a TV show, yeah, where you talk about, the Catholic priests and stuff doing all this kind of stuff. This is something that only I would. So, anyway, but that's it. I tried to do this a little differently today. I hope you liked the way it came out. Um, but then again, I'm still trying to explore different ways to present all this to you. So, guys, I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free to comment or comment below. I will answer them as quickly and, when I possibly can. And I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you all next time.